17,000 alien warships, gone in 3 seconds, not destroyed, not damaged, erased like they never existed. Humanity didn't just fight back. We broke the rules of reality itself. But here's the truth no one tells you. We were never the victims. We were the containment system. And something far worse. Just noticed we're gone. The Tesseract gate collapsed inward like a dying star, and with it, 37 Krell dreadnoughts simply ceased to exist. Commander Elias Moreno watched the telemetry flatline on the holographic display, his jaw tight. Around him, the operations center of Threshold Station held its collective breath. The alien armada, 17,000 ships strong, had sent their vanguard through Earth's outer defense perimeter 3 minutes ago. Now those ships were gone, not destroyed, not scattered, gone, erased from space-time as if they'd never drawn breath. Vinculum is holding stable, reported Lieutenant Kira Osei, her dark fingers dancing across haptic controls. Power draw at 42%, containment fields nominal. Moreno didn't respond immediately. He was thinking about his daughter Maya, 7 years old, playing in their apartment on Luna Colony while her father gambled with physics that could unravel reality itself. The Vinculum wasn't a weapon, not really. It was humanity's desperate answer to a question the universe had posed with violence. What do you do when gods come to subjugate you? You become something worse. The Krell Dominion had ruled the galactic arm for 12,000 years. Their crystalline ships moved like thoughts through void space, powered by stellar cores they'd learned to harvest and compress. They'd conquered 400 species, integrated 2,000 worlds. When they'd arrived at Earth's doorstep with their doctrine of ascension, submit or be refined into component matter, humanity had 6 months to respond. Dr. Rachel Amari had responded with madness. "Second wave incoming," called out Tactical Officer Marcus Wren. "Command carriers deploying. They're holding position at the heliopause just beyond Vinculum range." On the main display, the Krell fleet reconfigured. Massive command vessels, each large enough to swallow Earth's moon, began generating gravitational anchors. They'd learned from the first wave's disappearance. They were adapting. Moreno's earpiece crackled. "Elias," Rachel's voice thin with exhaustion. She'd been in the Vinculum chamber for 18 hours straight. "I jacked into the quantum substrate that gave the weapon its terrible power. They're trying to pin our space-time coordinates. If they succeed, they'll collapse the local manifold and take us with them." "How long do we have?" 14 minutes, maybe less." Moreno felt ice in his veins. The Vinculum worked by exploiting a flaw in the universe itself, a loophole in causality that should never have been discovered. When activated, it created localized bubbles where cause and effect became negotiable. Ships caught inside didn't explode or burn. They simply stopped having ever existed in that specific timeline. The math was beautiful and horrifying in equal measure, but it had limitations: range, power consumption, and one other thing Rachel had only told him 3 days ago. Each activation made the universe slightly more unstable. You use it too often, too carelessly, and reality itself might decide humans were the glitch that needed patching. "They're launching something," Kira said sharply. "Sublight projectiles, thousands of them." Moreno saw the tactical display light up like a Christmas tree. The Krell weren't sending more ships. They were sending their version of missiles, planet killers wrapped in shields that bent space-time around themselves. Each one packed enough weaponized antimatter to crack a continental shelf. They'd calculated Vinculum's range perfectly. The missiles would detonate just outside the weapon's effective radius, creating a cascading shockwave that would obliterate Threshold Station and everything behind it, Earth included. "Rachel," Moreno said quietly, "we need the cascade option." Silence on the line. Then, "That's not an option. That's suicide. It's the only way to catch them all." The cascade was theoretical, untested. Instead of creating isolated causality bubbles, it would generate a wavelength effect, rippling outward, collapsing probability fields in an expanding sphere. It would catch the missiles. It would catch the command carriers. It might catch everything in a light-hour radius, including Threshold Station. "There has to be another way," Rachel said, but her voice had already surrendered. Moreno thought of Maya again, her laugh, the way she'd insisted on teaching him the names of every crater on Luna's surface. He'd promised her he'd come home. Some promises you break to keep others. "Initiate cascade," he ordered. The Vinculum chamber, 5 kilometers beneath Threshold's hull, began to sing, a frequency no human ear could process. But every atom in Moreno's body felt it. Reality rippled. Kira gasped. "Sir, the missiles, they're—" On screen, the Krell planet killers folded into themselves like paper in reverse. The command carriers shuddered, their crystalline hulls fracturing along lines that didn't exist in 3-dimensional space. And then the wave hit the main fleet. 17,000 ships, gone in a breath. The operations center erupted in shocked silence. Moreno looked at the empty void where an empire's wrath had been. "Rachel, status?" No response. "Rachel, still here." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Elias, the cascade didn't stop. It's still propagating." Cold realization. "How far?" "I don't know. The waves interacting with void space channels. It might travel along every tesseract gate in this sector. Maybe further." Moreno closed his eyes. They'd just sent a causality collapsing wave through the galaxy's primary FTL network. The Krell would vanish. Their conquered worlds, their slave species, their history, and no one would remember any of it had ever existed. "Get out of there," Moreno said softly. "That's an order." "Too late. Containment's failing. If I disconnect now—" The station shuddered. Red lights bloomed across every console. "Rachel." "Tell Maya," she said, "that her Aunt Rachel loved her. Tell her we bought tomorrow." The line went dead. Through the viewport, space itself seemed to hold its breath. And in the silence, Moreno understood. Humanity hadn't won. They'd simply proven themselves more dangerous than anything else in the dark. The question now was whether the universe would let them keep existing. What did you just witness? Share your theories below. Subscribe to see if humanity survives what comes next.